Good afternoon to all participants. I am Carlo Ferra. I want to welcome you to this fifth innovation talk co-organized by the Italian Trade Agency and the Italian Pavilion. Our talk today will discuss on the food production and sustainability, I believe a topic of utmost importance both under the economical, societal and ethical aspect. Let me begin thanking the General Counsel of Italy, Giuseppe Finocchiaro. Welcome, Giuseppe, as this initiative is organized under the coordination of the Italian Ministry for Foreign Affairs. And let me thank Commissioner Paolo Grisenti, as this is a co-production, and particularly the Pavilion is hosting us today. So let me first to invite Paolo Grisenti, Commissioner at Expo Dubai for Italy, on stage for his opening remarks.
Grazie, Carlo. Welcome, everybody. As I usually do, I try to do my own job by giving you the context in which we're having this meeting. The first context is Expo. Expo is debating since 2 weeks ago sustainability, very much linked to the issue of nutrition. It's been really a cross theme that has inspired discussion and events and meetings throughout Expo and in our pavilion, where we had very interesting meetings with experts, institutional representatives, talking about the connection, the ever-growing, stronger connection between food and sustainability, between food and health and wellness. We have been debating wellness in light of food, nutrition. We debated the issue of innovative agriculture linked to personalized medicine. We have discussed in interesting meetings we had on the issue that connects food and agriculture with the desertification of arid lands, or not yet arid lands, but soon to become, or lands where the water is not good for plants. So this leads me to the second context of which is meeting, which is our pavilion. If you give us the pleasure, make us the honor of visiting our pavilion, you will see that there is a large part of the pavilion dedicated to sustainable agriculture. We have a very large garden made of 190 plants that can grow in arid lands with no water, and there are these plants, these 190 plants, have a chip, a digital chip into it, which sends a signal to Rome, to the Centro CNR in Rome, and they send it back to us, indicating the state of life of these plants, whether they need more water, less water, refrigeration, or so forth. What does that mean is that we took here in the pavilion a piece of innovative agriculture that can allow the creation of vegetable gardens, agricultural production in deserted places like the Emirates, as is actually happening. And this, I think, is one of the important elements of the pavilion, which takes then us into the natural biological elements that allow us to have the first pavilion with no artificial air conditioning, but with natural oxygenation of the air through algae. We have in front of the entrance, you might have seen the green ENI installations that produce clean energy. The light you see is produced by absorbing CO2 and lights from outside through, again, a system of algae and plants. So the whole pavilion, the whole context in which we have in this interesting meeting today is sustainability linked to agriculture and food. One final word I want to share with you is the sense we're getting that Italy's food production, food companies can look at the future by investing into systems that allow tracing food and beverage and food components, by making ever clear the local territorial identity and sourcing of those food ingredients, of those food components, so that innovative agriculture can lead to identifying food productions linked more and more to territories, regions, part of Italy, and so forth. And this, I think, is one of the new marketing components that you are considering, and we see this being debated more and more every day. So I just want to thank you for coming here. I want to thank Carlo for yet this another important innovation talk here, which contributes to our activities, to our discussion. But I just want to give you a sense of the context in which this meeting is taking place. We are broadcasting this meeting in many, many countries in real time through our YouTube and Facebook channels. So you are listened and seen by thousands and thousands of people around the world, which makes this meeting even more important and more constructive in terms of contributing to our venture into Expo. So thank you very much for coming again, and I hope you have a nice, interesting work.
Thank you, Mr. Glisenti. Thank Paolo. Today is up to me to moderate this discussion. This is a bit by chance, as I am here for a very special week. Yesterday with Commissioner Glisenti, we have opened under the presence of Minister Giorgetti, the Italian Design Show organized by the Italian Trade Agency and the Ministry of Economic Development. And by the way, I would invite after this event to visit it. Quite interesting. And it's also quite a special week, as the Italian Trade Agency this week is bringing, 190 Italian companies at 5 different exhibitions in the various fields. But this is also by design. By design, as the subject is really very much on the heart of the strategy for the Italian Trade Agency, for the Minister of Foreign Affairs, as it touches to relevant topics: the agri-food, supply chain, and the sustainability. And I'm sure, Paolo, that at the end you have chosen to be on the sustainability district out of the 3 districts of Expo Dubai for and amid the importance that we attach to the green transition, to whom the Italian government devotes 60 billion euros as a part of the recovery plan. And this topic is of a real importance on the social sides. I believe more and more at the end, companies look at the environment as an asset to preserve, as opposed to a prior approach of looking at a resource to be used. And certainly under the economic side, the managers of our generation know that we are borrowing from our children and grandchildren the health, and this is not any longer a legacy from our parents to be consumed. When sustainability applies to the agri-food chain, we talk about the leadership of Italian company. In terms of production, Italy is the 2nd producer in Europe. In terms of sustainable practices, value-added and organic agriculture, Italy is the 1st producer in Europe. And when we talk about the advantages of the Mediterranean diet, you will see today as recognized as unique combination of diversity, taste, and health. And this came particularly important after the pandemic. The results are also evident in the data of the export. Last year, the Italian food export reached 46 billion euros, and this year is projected to exceed the 50 billion euros. In addition, despite the pandemic in 2020, the Italian agri-food export has increased. It has significantly accelerated in 2021, is accelerating, and as a result, the first 8 months of 2021 are 4.9% higher in export than the same period of 2019, the pre-COVID period. The Italian Trade Agency is quite easy on showing it at Dubai. As we talk, we are running the Speciality Food Festival with 80 exhibitors and about 40 visitors from the Middle East, North Africa, South Asia area, and some of them are here, and I wanted to thank them for joining us. And finally, the link with this country, with the Arab culture that sometimes we find in some very tasty dish like a good tabbouleh that we can eat in Sicily as well as in the Emirates in Dubai. But now it's time to enter into the merit of our debate with the real experts, and given the complexity of the subject, we wanted to have various different approaches. So I'd like to welcome on the stage Mrs. Sara Roversi, President of the Future Food Institute. She brings an international experience in research and development in the agri-food industry. And then Italy is a leader in this industry thanks to companies and thanks to a cluster. So we thought it important to invite two representatives that leads to important companies in the sector, but also leads to very representative association. I want to invite Mr. Luigi Scornamaglia, Chief Executive Officer of Inalca, and the president of Filiera Italia, a cluster, an association of the agri-food cluster. And Mr. Paolo Zanetti. Paolo is the managing director of Zanetti Group and is as well the president of Assolatte. We talk about innovation, but innovation starts with tradition, and I am glad to have present the representative of a family with 130 years of history in the field, Mrs. Sabrina Stoppato, Chief Executive Officer of Stoppato 1887. And we never miss in this meeting the local experience, the local expertise in order to take always these talk opportunities as a bridge to create a new and future business links between our countries. So I wanted to welcome Mr. Emile Mukarzel, Managing Director of the Agriculture Division of Elite Agro LLC, for being with us. Thank you. Thanks all the 5 guests. And maybe I'll start from Mrs. Roversi's talking about international perspective, talking about international evolution. Which role plays the ecological transition in this respect, and which role the Italian food chain can play?
So, I think that the ecological transition in all of that is absolutely crucial. And overall, in these days, while in Glasgow, they are debating about the crucial issue related to climate change. But I also think that our country plays a crucial role. This year, for sure, has been highlighting how Italy is really at the epicenter of the cultural movement related to food. Our country this year has been hosting the G20, the Food System Summit, the pre-COP26. We never thought about Italy and food, how they play a crucial role for the global food system. And nobody knows and acknowledged from basically since how many years Italy is investing in the advancement of the global food system, investing, first of all, in the major United Nations agency talking about food and acting about food, thinking about FAO, thinking about IFAD or the World Food Programme. This means that our country cares about that, but this means that also the awareness of the entrepreneurs behind the food chains in Italy are very much aware about how much food is connected to the most relevant issue of the planet. For sure, this year we have been clearly understanding that talking about sustainability is not enough, and we need to think about sustainability in a very integral way. So thinking about ecology, implementing all the different areas that are embedding economy, political aspects, human aspects, social aspects, cultural, such an important issue, and also environmental. Not thinking just about environmental, because this is too narrow, and we need to be able to keep everything in balance. But let's talk about innovation, which is the role that our country plays in innovation. I think that our country, more than many others, plays a crucial role, also because we are lucky enough to be part of Europe, that anyway is the continent that is setting the highest standards in terms of commitments related to food and sustainability, to climate, to a sustainable agriculture, more than any other continent in the planet. Because when you hear about the impact of the agriculture on climate change, and you read about the 20-30% or other very high percentage of impact, if you see the impact of Italy or of Europe, you see that we are a pretty well-performing part of the world. This means that our entrepreneurs and our farmers, our farming industry is already, let's say, advanced. Never enough, because the challenge is very high, but for sure, what we can say is that inside our food chains, we have very, say, trustful role model that can start really advance and accelerate this change. And there's so much that we can do at the global level, building bridges, but we can talk about that later.
Thank you, Mrs. Roversi. You have mentioned a number of points, including the culture in Italy in this respect, and let me remember that at the end we start to talk about sustainable food at Expo Milan 2015, and Mr. Scordamaglia was there at that time, as well as you have mentioned that indeed sustainability on the table start from the farm. So on these two topics, to create this bridge from Milan to Dubai, I'll give the stage to Luigi Scordamaglia. You have a video as well,
yes,
I think.
Yes,
no?
Thank you very much. Thank you very much, President, Commissioner. It's really an honor and pleasure for me, honorable guest, to be here to represent the Italian agri-food chain in this extraordinary contest. I was impressed today, it's my first time, and I was impressed because in this pavilion there are all the ingredients of the perfect Italian success. Beauty, technology, innovation, tradition together, research, and I would like again to thank Paolo Glisenti, the Commissioner, for the really great work he has done for our country. Coming back to, yes, Expo 2015, this virtual bridge, we as an Italian food sector have been in 2015 protagonist of this event that totally changed the perception worldwide of the importance of the food challenge. We set ourselves a lot of really ambitious goals that at the end, after 5 years, we are very, very happy to say that we have fully achieved. In terms of export, first of all, the President already recalled that within this year, we will reach 50 billion, but we are really confident that in few years, we will reach, as Italian food export, we will double this goal. We will reach 100 billion euro. And we, as the President say, there is a very direct way to explain, to increase this extraordinary success, because we have to explain to the different markets, to the rest of the world, that we are not only quality, for sure we are quality, but we are also this indissoluble link, bond with our territories. We are this capacity of enhancement of our extraordinary biodiversity. We have to tell this storyteller to all our markets and to international consumers. But in 2015, the most ambitious goals that we had concerned the sustainability of our production, and it's these results that we are particularly proud of. After just 5 years, as Italian agri-food sector, we have managed to reduce the agricultural CO2 emissions to 30 million tons. If you compare with France, it's 77. If you compare with Germany, it's 60 million, so more than half. At the same time, we have been able to reduce a food production chain of 32% the pesticides, 15% the chemical fertilizers, 30% the antibiotic in livestock, and all this with Europe's highest agri-food added value. We reached an absolute record of added value in agriculture in 2020 of 64 billion euro. So the Italian model is very simple, producing more quantity and quality, but with less environmental resources, and leaving the land more fertile than before, year after year. And how it's possible? The answer is very simple, and Sarah already anticipated, is innovation. Innovation, innovation. Thanks to innovation, thanks to increasingly advanced technology applied, first of all, throughout the whole production chain by starting from the agricultural phase. Many people think, especially in the richest country, incorrectly, that in order to be sustainable, you have to go back to old-fashioned method of production, something like the wooden plow. Wrong. We need advanced technology, constant innovation, starting with precision farming, and this allows us always more sustainable production. And in these fields, Italian companies are becoming more and more the state-of-the-art and the global leaders. We need, with the land, a new perspective. We need to consider every single square meter of land a different organism, each with a different composition, each with a different requirements, which, if treated in a different way, in a specific targeted manner with modern technology, will ensure higher quality and quantity, but a minimum consumption of resource. If you can send this short video, probably is much more explanatory than many words of where we are in Italy today with precision farming. Please.
Precision agriculture is based on the principle doing the right thing at the right time in the right way. This method is developed on a rigorous scientific path starting with the farmer, going from physiochemical soil analysis all the way to the most innovative satellite and land technologies, leaving nothing to chance. The first step is to digitalize the fields through the acquisition of field boundaries, which will be the basis for all the next steps. Once fields have been delineated, the next step is to understand their main soil characteristics. Using probes connected to tractors, technicians can detect the soil moisture, therefore creating an electrical conductivity map of the area. This, along with other analysis, will indicate exactly where to extract the soil samples. The elaboration of these soil samples will be used to create the homogeneous zones. Thanks to these maps, seeding, fertilizing, and other applications become precise, allowing the farmer to correctly apply the seed and nutrients to only where they are needed. It is possible to keep track of the machinery at all times in the fields and calculate all the relative data, from fuel consumption to the amount of seed, fertilizer, and other applications. With the help of satellite sensors and drones, it is possible to monitor crop status as well as the growth and health of plants. Additionally, we can use these to predict a field's yield well in advance to see if it is suitable for a specific crop. Being able to monitor a crop in a timely manner and forecast the quantity, quality, and suitability of the soil creates revenues that can be reinvested along the whole supply chain.
I think we can stop here the
Water
video
is
because
the most precious element for both.
you can stop it because it's too long, but just to show you that this is not the future, this is the present in Italy. But as Sara said, environmental sustainability is just one of the aspects of the sustainability. Then you have social and economic sustainability. And the challenge we are facing now together with our government is how to make all this available to millions of Italian small and very small farms that must use them without major investments. I said before that innovation is the answer, yes, but not as prerogative of few large companies, but as material and immaterial value shared by small and medium enterprise in a single integrated production chain. We don't have a real multinational company in the food sector. In Italy, probably one or two. But we have always more what we call widespread multinational, where the large company are just the leading partner of integrated supply chain that wins or loses together. We know perfectly that our companies are small and they need to grow to be competitive, but we need also a different kind of growth, not necessarily dimensional, but as part of a single chain or of a single constantly innovative system. So this is not the future, as I say, this is the present in Italy. We cover with this precision farming more than 3 million hectares. We start from, and through agreement with the National Association of Farmers, we are collecting huge quantity of big data, agricultural big data, for the widespread use by these small farms. We are a country again, and I'm going to finish with a little land, but precious and capable to generating the highest food added value in the world. This is why we need to respect the land. And another advantage is that more and more in Italy, young people with their greater capacity in innovation are involving in modern farming. Italy last year was the first country in Europe for the number of young people in agriculture. And where there are young people, there is innovation. We will be happy to share, to make our model, our values, our technology, our innovation available to the rest of the world. I think this universal exposition is the better occasion to do this. And I'm sure that Italy will play a leading role in food strategy in the future. Thanks.
Thank you. No problem. Thanks, Luigi. Thanks a lot also for the contribution of the video. Drones, sensors, connected machines is a new word for agriculture. And believe me, when you visit the food exhibition in Italy, we were in Milan or in Parma a few weeks or a few months ago, you see all of that as a reality in Italy. This is from agriculture to production and connecting tradition and innovation is an important challenge for Italian producers. To talk about this subject, I would ask Mr. Paolo Zanetti to take the stage. I believe Zanetti names doesn't need a presentation in this country, because of how much your product is present. Is a product like Parmigiano Grana, very much iconic of the Italian made in Italy. And the question to Mr. Zanetti is how sustainability for the company and the dairy industry is solving this tough connection between tradition and innovation.
Thank you very much, President Ferro, Commissioner Grisenti, ladies and gentlemen. Thank you very much for invitation and your time. Maybe you know my products, as we are very present in Dubai. We try to sell all over the world, try to do always to do our best. Anyway, I'm a very lucky person because I'm trying to sell the products who my grandfather started the company in 1900. But when my father started the company in 1900, he was producing the cheese who was invented in 1900 by the monks. The monks, Cistercian monks, invent cheese like Grana Padano and Parmigiano Reggiano. So the question is how to coexist tradition and innovation. Of course, every year as entrepreneur we try to do innovation into the tradition. That means we produce Parmigiano like it was 1,000 years ago. Very simple products. milk, salt, rennet, very simple ingredients, but with modern technology, with much more attention to the sustainability. As you can see, we have a very complex supply chain from farming, milk production, cheese production, maturing, cheese processing, portioning, packaging, etc., etc. At Zanetti, we do many initiatives in order to reduce the impact, environmental impact, and in order to be more sustainable, as you can see here. But I don't want to be longer. And just go through a very simple example. What we are doing now, for instance, in industry level, plastic density reduce in all our packaging 31%. What does it mean? When you go to supermarket and you buy a piece of cheese, of course, we need to export. We need to be present in all over the world, so we need very long shelf life products, but also we have to think about environmental sustainability. That's why we do all these initiatives. Plastic reduction, clean facilities, 100% green energy, products reused, production waste, etc., etc. I don't want to be very long. Also, we try to commit all our stakeholder, all our milk supplier. For instance, how we are sustainable. We collect milk no more than 60 kilometers. I mean, also we push our farmers to be more sustainable, to waste less water, less energy, etc., etc. So just to be really very short, innovation and tradition coexist since is in the DNA of our company. As of my company. I'm also lucky. I represent. I'm the president of Asolate, the the milk industry in Italy. So this is just an example of one company, what one milk company, one dairy company do for environmental, for sustainability. So, of course, all my colleagues are as well involved in these projects. So, I'm very happy to be here. I just want to say, okay, you know, everybody knows here Parmigiano Reggiano because maybe you know the original one, but maybe you know the copy one, the Parmesan one. So I don't want to be longer talking about the Italian sounding, etc., etc. But I mean, I'm very proud because when I export Parmigiano Reggiano, as it is the most copied cheese in the world, that means that I mean we are doing the best. If they copy us, that means that they like very much our products. Thank you.
Thank you. Thanks, Mr. Zanetti. And, you know, more and more I listen to these innovation talks, I'm convinced that innovation comes from cross-fertilization of different ideas, and we cannot miss the opportunity of confronting best practices across the world. For this reason, I would ask now to Mr. Mukersel the question, how at Elite Agro are you going to improve the food production, and which sectors really play an important role for your company in creating a sustainable food chain?
Okay, hello everyone. I really thank you for the invitation. I just feel at home. I think I need to thank Italy. If it wasn't for Italy, I will not be sitting here and in this position. I graduated from Italy in the 1992, 93, 94. I have a postgraduate study and master from Italy. Work in Italy and European countries, but then left to Australia and came back 9 years ago to UAE. Elite Agro started 10 years ago. We started 1 hectare and we had one vision. If we can succeed to farm in the desert region, then we can go around the world and will be piece of cake or piece of cheese. So at the moment, from 2012, we have 70,000 hectares around 9 countries. I saw the video of the precision agriculture. I think there is no company will survive in the next 2 to 3 years. Even tomorrow, there is company will not survive. because what's happening in the agri-input sector, fertilizer, you know, everyone here, the China, what's happening in the China. In agri-input price in Europe now, a lot of factory closing. In UAE, we can't import fertilizer. We don't have the resources even to grow. And in UAE, we have around 6,000 hectares. We are the largest producer of vegetables and fruit and open field. What it happened with the network between UAE and Italy, we were mostly with more than 100 countries, 100 company Italian, all technology from greenhouses, net houses, from genetic. And here I like to mention, or I would like to say something about innovation. I think maybe if there is some Dutch people here will be upset from me, even if they are my friend. I think Italy need to work more harder on the genetic part because they have the climate from Sicily to Puglia to better than other European country, what I mean colder. Here in the Middle East and the GCC country require some vegetables, especially seeds, that are adapted to 50 degree, 48 degree. We farm here, we produce, I give you an example. If we say tomato into greenhouse, normal pad and fan system, not a glass house, not even semi, like high tech, medium tech, low tech. Let's say low tech, we get 30 kg per square meter. In Sicily, Spain, they get a little bit more, but because we use their seeds, we use their variety. There is no company around the world that really have their own breeding program to this part of the world. And there is big market in this part. So I really encourage Italian company, and I have a lot of friends that we discussed that they must start doing that. And even now with the climate change, even it is getting, this year we have 12 to 15,000 hectares in Serbia. We have in Morocco, Mauritania, Sierra Leone, Ethiopia, Indonesia, Malaysia, Egypt, and we're starting in Saudi, and of course UAE. So even with the climate change, we can see that the temperature is increasing 2 to 3 degrees per year. So there should be some focus onto producing crops that can take the heat. And I wish, and I believe that the Italian company will do that. Now, regarding the agriculture precision, I think Italy already we use some of the technology, but now we're going not only in agricultural precision from the soil mapping to GPS in the tractor to the fuel consumption. This is already being used the last 10 years in European country. Now we're going into digital agriculture, where we are sitting in Abu Dhabi or Dubai, and we are controlling the 70,000. We have dashboard coming. We know exactly what's happening. And with the agri-input price rise, you can't survive. You must, we can see we are saving in Europe around 200 euro per hectare just by using agricultural precision. Thank you.
Thank you, Mr. Mukazel. Indeed, it's very much a subject, about the climate warming and how to be prepared for that. We will address in the next round some of these points, but I would like first to complete the round with the experience on coupling innovation with tradition, with a company holding over 130 years of history. By the way, I noted that Zanetti is not so far. It's just a bit fewer, and you see how family business in Italy is really a strength of the country. And the question is to Mrs. Stoppato, and the question is really how did you manage to take this challenge of sustainability, and what are your future goals?
Yes, well, we have a long experience, we have a long tradition from 1887, and from that time, I mean, our grandfather of our grandfather was a pioneer because he was firstly an entrepreneur in the farming and had the first tractors. Then what I would like to underline is we are an example of what my colleagues told before, because we are doing the precision farming. My father, about 15 years ago, started with green energy. We grow rapeseed. We're still growing rapeseed. From rapeseed oil, we get energy, thermal and electrical energy. And that's help us to cover all the needs in our company. We're drying the crops with the thermal energy, 100% we use. And concerning electrical, we produce 3 times more than what we need. So we put in the net. We sell what we produce more. And what I would like to underline is, yes, it's true, in Italy we are small, we are local, we are small, but we are using all the dashboards, the devices, GPS, satellite, what we had talked before. Just an example, irrigation, that is important even here. Irrigation, we can be 100 kilometers far from the fields, and we can manage to stop irrigation because it's windy, for instance, or to start again because the time is okay, the weather is okay. We can control the humidity. We can control, this is, for instance, an example that what we are doing in our company, this is my brother, and we can check the soil. Year after year, we can understand why in the same field there are some parts that that produce more than others. We can make statistics, and with the satellite we can really control everything. So we started, my father was a pioneer, but we are still growing. It's not just the past. We have solar panel. We have cover crops, for instance, in the future, is the near future. So we grow more crops in the same field to avoid erosion. These are really many examples of what we are doing locally. So it's true that, well, young people in agriculture in Italy, well, there are always more young people. And we are doing this, what we are reading on the books. I mean, so we are proud. And we are maybe a drop but in the ocean, but the ocean is made of many drops, no, they say. So here, for instance, is the rapeseed. Our rapeseed we grow, then we squeeze locally, and from the oil there is the cogenerator, and we produce both thermal and electrical energy. From the corn, we use our corn for the biogas, the biofuel, and of course, but maybe we talk better later, we have a production plant inside the company, so short supply chain, we grant also the short supply chain. That's my experience. Thanks for the opportunity you gave me.
Thank Mrs. Stoppato. At the end, from all this experience, there is the product, and the product is currently also exposed, no, at the Speciality Food exhibition here in Dubai, thanks also to our agency bringing 80 Italian companies there. And this concludes the first round, and at this point I have to twofold. Thank our guests, first of all, for the thoughtful contribution, and second, because we are perfectly on time. So we can now go for a second round, maybe a little bit quicker on different and new subject, and maybe we should start again from Mrs. Roversi. You have been really a very relevant contributor to the food coalition. You are a relevant contributor to the food coalition. All this activity between the Italian government and the UN FAO. Preparing the food summit, bringing to the G20 very recently the result of the food summit, and this is about a vision, is about a project of collaboration to come. Would you please expand with us a bit on that?
Absolutely. For sure, as said, Italy played a crucial role, and I think that innovation is a cooperative effort, and we know it pretty well. So our country has been supporting one of, I think, the most relevant initiative, but it's relevant because it's very concrete. That is the Food Coalition. So during the Food System Summit, FAO announced this initiative, launching kind of a call to all the countries to come together to find solutions to tackle the most relevant issues we are facing within the food system. Italy has been presenting during the G20 in Matera 2 food coalitions that I think are very relevant for us. One is focused on farmers' market. So the power of farmers around the world, the empowerment of farmers and shortening the food chains, and this has been launched together with Coldiretti and also USA and other countries that has been supporting this movement. Another one that has been led by us, Unido ITPO Italia and FAO, is focused on Mediterranean diet. And why we're talking about Mediterranean diet? Because before we were talking about the soft power of Italy when we're talking about food, but I think that Mediterranean diet is one of the most relevant dormant resources we have. Nobody think about the value of Mediterranean diet and the value of Italy that is the navel of Mediterranean diet. Mediterranean diet has been acknowledged 11 years ago by UNESCO as one of the world heritages, and is represented by 7 countries. Italy and Pollica in Cilento is one of the emblematic communities, but also has been probably really the starting point of everything. And why I'm talking about that? Because we were talking about culture. Parmenide and Zeno, the 2 Greek philosophers in Cilento, 2,500 years ago, were the first starting debating about the need of finding a balance between humans and nature. And then the medical school from Salerno was the first medical school talking about the relevance of how we eat, how we live, and health. So food and lifestyle were connected. And then after the World War, the most famous scientist, Ansel Keys, who invented ration K, feeding all the American soldiers, came in Italy to study why people living in our lands are living up to 100 years, inventing the name Mediterranean diet. And I'm talking about that because Mediterranean diet is the best representation of, say, what we think about sustainability. So connecting lifestyle, care about how we grow food, and care about lifestyle, convivium, sharing food. And this is, I think, the best example that we can share here, because this is building bridges and give us opportunities to create connections. Italy, I think we were talking about how lucky we are. Yes, we are very lucky, but also we know which are the biggest challenges we're going to face. If we talk about climate change, Italy, in the center of Mediterranean, is at risk much more than any other country around Europe, because if you compare the climatic issues that Italy is facing, we're talking about the 65% more compared to Spain and France. And so when you were talking about technologies, you were coming to Italy to learn from us, but now we have to start to build bridges, and this is what we are doing, creating coalitions with UAE and with tons of other countries around the world, because we are going to face issues related to water scarcity, desertification, and climate change is something that we need to tackle. starting from mitigation. And so we cannot do innovation by ourselves. We started 9 years ago creating living labs in California. We are in Japan, we are working in India, a lot with the Italian trade agency as well, that is connecting innovators with the food industries. And of course, we are working to build bridges here, because here there are tons of innovation centers that can help combining knowledge and science to fight the climate change. That is something crucial. We cannot solve the issues by ourselves. So cooperating in innovation is crucial.
This is what makes UAE a great country, and the leader of the country has big vision for sustainable food. I'm going to tell you, we have no water, we have no people,
But
we
you have
have
tons of technologies.
no weather. We don't. We have temperature, humidity issue. We have no water. Okay, power we have, fuel we have, but the main 5 to 6 elements that to produce, we don't have them, and we are succeeding. Let's leave out the date production. At the moment, Elite Agro produce in the desert blueberry, raspberry, strawberry, blackberry, and some of it is Italian genetic that we took from Italy, and we try to adapt it to the condition here. And we try to be sustainable, profitable, and make sure compete with Italian, Dutch, Spanish product inside our country. So in Italian, you have everything.
Innovation is a cooperative effort. We should work together. This is the solution.
This is very much anticipating my second question to Mr. Muserker, which is exactly at the end what we can do more in terms of cross-cooperation in order to facilitate farming on
packaging material
warming.
coming from Italy, sorting, grading coming from Italy, all the machinery we use here, and we import, and we pay a lot of money, and we try to. So you need to give the credit to UAE and the people and the vision of UAE to produce their own food. And I'm really proud to be part of it.
Thank you, and thanks for this contribution to the second round. Mrs. Roversi Point also helped me to introduce again a subject that Mr. Zanetti has already touched. Since when you were mentioning the Mediterranean diet as a World Heritage from Italy, I was thinking about Colosseo is a World Heritage, and no one is selling a Colosseo in the world, while there are thousands or tens of thousands of producers in the world that are trying to sell Italian food, the so-called Italian-sounding aspect. I know Mr. Scordamaglia, in his capacity of the general manager of the CEO of Filiere Italia, has addressed a lot at this point. They estimate, what, about $100 billion, the value that...
Yes, exactly, but what is an old estimation. Now we are at least at 150 billion.
Okay.
So 3 times our export.
It's a big number, it's an enormous number, and I want to touch it not so much in this contest on the standpoint of the fairness to the Italian producer, but in the fairness to consumer, that at the end buy $150 billion of product thinking to have some characteristic, some taste, some level of healthy, and is not. Would you like to expand on this, Luigi?
Yes, very. Tell me 10 seconds before, because I would like to answer to my friend regarding the what he mentioned, the big data digital agriculture. This is the future, this is the present. As an example, thanks to digital data that we collect and use through sensor, land sensor, and everything, we have been able to relaunch production of a very ancient seeds of grain in a very competitive way, with yield that are almost the same of the most competitive seeds. So more adapted to the soil, but very ancient variety, thanks to this digital control. So this is for sure, obviously, here, it's a little bit easier. I mean, large companies, a lot of money. In Italy, it's a little bit more difficult because we have a million of small farms. So you need to create value, and then you have to share large company and small, very small company. Italian sounding, yes, impressive results that we had with the growth of our export is nothing if you compare with the products. As Paolo Zanetti said, they copy us because they like us, but also because sometimes we are not well organized, enough organized to cover what we call the last mile. You cannot just export your products to I want to mention US, because in US, 1 on 7 food products sold as Italian is original Italian. 6 on 7 are completely fake. Because sometimes we are not able to reach all the region, all the province. So, first of all, we need to improve our distribution capacity. And when I say we, I mean we as a system, because 90% of that value of export, Italian food export, are made by 5% of companies. So this is our first goal. Second, we need to sign international agreement, bilateral agreement, I hope multilateral after the G20 in Rome agreement, to protect producer but also consumer. Because this is, Italian sounding is a deception for the consumer. If you buy here in the retail, if you buy something because you think that it's Italian but it's nothing from Italy, this is a deception, a fraud for the consumer. Last point, you already underlined it before, we underlined it that there is an indissoluble bond of our products with our territories. This is the storytelling that we have to tell. This is what we have to explain to the international consumer. And this is why, and I'm very happy that Sarah told the same thing, this is why we are against the homologated diet. We are against the proposal of, just for example, Eat Lancet Commission that say we need to have a single universal diet without any link to the territories. It's the opposite. We need to fight together because we need to avoid that somebody cut this link between land, billion of families of farmers and products, to move the food production into the lab of few multinationals. This is a challenge, and if you want to grow our export, if we want to maintain the culture and tradition of food, we need to be against the homologating diet.
Thank you, Mr. Scordamaglia. This reference to the territories at the end is bringing me to my mind that 3 days ago, I guess, that we had the criterium Giro d'Italia with Giro d'Italia and our agency and the commissariat hosting the criterium here in Dubai. And when meeting the winner of Giro d'Italia this year, I asked him, after 3,500 kilometers, how much of Italy did you watch? And he said nothing. It was so much concentrated on the race, but he promised that after retiring, he will take the car and do again this round trip of Italy to watch the territory. And when you do that, certainly, and I'm talking to those of you that are less familiar with Italy, you may see really the beauty of the hill of Chianti, the hill of Langhe, the hill of Prosecco, the beauty of the plain of River Po, or the beauty of olive oil trees in Apulia or in Liguria, excuse me for those in Italy that I have not mentioned. This to come to an important point which I want to ask to Mrs. Stoppato. If I do not mistake, at the end your farming is very much close to WWF, World Heritage Protected Sites, and how really you have been able to be fully respectful of all the appropriate constraints when farming and producing in those areas.
Yeah, since we are near a WWF area and where some very important archaeological sites are located, we feel much more responsible to be sustainable and to preserve the area, preserve the earth around. And so we we would like, well, to do the things as better as possible. And we grow around the crops, as you can see from the video. And we decided, to build a plant near where we cultivate in order to grant the short supply chain. So we grow, we harvest, we clean, because the company is divided into two, a part that is dedicated to farm and to clean. Farming means earth, so earth sometimes is opposite, to food industry. Food industry is everything is clean. So we divide into two. We clean the products, the crops, and then we move to the other part of the factory where we produce. So where the crops become food in the same area. So in this way, well, there is, well, the logistic, of course, again, we don't have to move crops from one side to another. We cooperate with many farms, as he said, my colleague in his speech. Italy is made of many small farmers. So since we are quite big in the area. We are small, but we are the biggest in the area. We are a hub for the small companies, and so we can use our harvester, 4.0 harvester, connected with dashboard, with satellite, and so on, and we can use it also for the small farmers. We collect their crops, and we try to have a network, okay, with the territory. And, well, as I told you, we are an example, a small example, but we hope to improve also for the future with the new technology, and we are always open-minded on this side. Thank you.
Thank Mrs. Toppato for this excellent example of what I call 0 kilometer plus. 0 kilometer on the overall production chain from the seed to the package, and then plus what is needed for reaching a consumer across the world, and not to take anyone without the ability of consuming product. By the way, on this respect, I want to take also the opportunity to advise on the possibility of now purchasing Italian food product also more from the UAE on the web. The Italian Trade Agency has announced and launched a virtual window on a major marketplace. I cannot make publicity, but you find which one is, and 10th and hundreds of Italian companies, SMEs, are now also offering their product on digital channel to consumer in this country. And then talking about best practices, any good debate and discussion at the end ends well when it comes to practical points, to practical suggestions. And Mr. Zanetti, based on his experience at the family company, but also in his capacity of the president of Assolat, certainly can conclude with a number of advices and tips to producers and consumers.
Mr. Ferro, thank you very much. I hope the last but not the least. First, I want to say best compliments to Ms. Toppato. I'm always very surprised about how food champion, how good company we have in our country. I didn't know the story of his company. It's a very old company. It's very successful, so best compliments. Just a few words about Italian sounding, so I go from one topic to another one, if you don't mind.
Sure.
Italian sounding, I heard from Mr. Scordamaglia that the estimation of Italian sounding now is 150 billion. So from one point of view, I'm of course unhappy. From one point of view, I'm happy because if I have still a lot of space to grow, to export, if as a fake Italian food 150 billion. So I have still a lot of space to grow with my company to create more export. Okay, so just go to the question. I just have just two more examples. Of another example of what we are doing, fighting food waste along the supply chain. In 2020, we started its fight against food waste with Grana Padano process. We were taking part of this project 10, 20, 30 initiative aimed to fighting food waste of contribution of different actors. The initiatives involved 10. I mean, it's a very important initiative because it involves 10 of the world's largest food retailers. We're talking about Metro, Costco, these kind of retailers, okay? And at least they involve 20 suppliers for 2030. And this is another project we are doing. So just to make a conclusion, well, many people think that dairy sector is old sector, etc. A sector who are not didn't pay attention to sustainability. But this is my company, as all my colleagues, an example of what we are doing for sustainability. And because we understand when, for instance, just like I'm a very pragmatic person, when we sell a piece of Parmigiano Reggiano again in the supermarket, we don't sell only the products. We sell, as I mentioned, tradition, but also we sell supply chain because we care about our farmers. But also we sell our land. We sell our land. There's such a big history behind a piece of Parmigiano Reggiano and Grana Padano. Okay, so the two keywords are passion and love. Passion, we love our supply chain, our farmers. We love our territory, so we take care about the territory. And Mr. Ferro, as we love our territory and we get passion as well, thanks to you and to your colleague also in Dubai and all over the world, I see that you put a lot of passion in your business because also you don't just assist company person, but you promote products who has behind many times big history, and you promote the territory. So as well, the keywords for you must be love and passion. So thank you very much, everybody. Thank you, Mr. Ferro. Thanks.
Thank you. With these awards also towards the organization of the Italian Trade Agency, how says for all, I believe the system of support, we are a small part of that. And by the way, when talking, for instance, about the Italian sounding, I want to take the opportunity to say the Italian SMEs that soon our agency will offer an additional service for adopting a blockchain-based technology in order to track the origin of the product in the supply chain and to document that, offering customers the opportunity reading a QR code on the product on the shelf by a smartphone could be an excellent way for recognizing the differences. Something more is so we have time now for some questions, if any, before the conclusion. Is there any question from the room? Is there any additional thought from the stage? Questions? I have the light in the eyes,
Hi.
so I cannot see.
Hi, good evening. This is a question for Zanetti.
Yeah,
Hopefully
would
I'm
you
pronouncing the
please,
name right.
do you mind to say your name, please?
Sure. My name is Maria, and I was curious about what you mentioned about food waste. So I wanted to know more about how your company reduces food waste in your supply chain. So it would be great to get more information on that. Thank you.
Okay.
Please.
Well, thank you very much. I don't, of course, have exact data to provide you, but in my presentation, I made some example how we reduce, for instance, plastic, water, etc., etc. I mean, if you want official data from my company, or you want official data from Italian dairy sector, I don't understand also the question.
What your company, sorry, what your company does to reduce food waste. So you mentioned that you have 20 suppliers, I believe, and you like work with them to reduce food waste. So more information on that.
Okay, you mean the project 2030 40?
2030. That.
Okay, now these projects involved, I mean, as I said, the 10 largest retailer in the world involved. The 20 is just an example, 20 biggest Grana Padano producer in order to reduce, there's a lot of efforts we have to do in order to reduce for 2030 many like water, wastage, plastic, etc., etc. I mean, if you want, if we have time, we can go through details, but this is just an example of what the 10 biggest retailers are doing in this case, in the specific sector of Grana Padano production.
Thank you, Mr. Zanetti, and I think Mr. Scordamaglia earlier has already mentioned some important achievement in reducing CO2 emission, in reducing use of chemicals in agriculture. Do you want to expand, Luigi?
Yes, to be efficient today is you need to have. I'm speaking, for example, we are a leader company in Italy, one of the leading Europe in the beef production. You need to have really a zero waste circular economy. For example, until 5-6 years ago, we need to pay to dispose of the sludge for the purification plants, manure for our more than 20,000 farmers every day. Now we are collecting all these byproducts, and we are producing, just as a company, more than 15 megawatt of biogas that cover 100% of our needs in energy. And now we are transforming. This is a process that is involving all Italy. We will be supported by the government. We are upgrading this biogas production because nobody knows, but Italy is 4th country in the world for biogas production. We depend on import of gas, natural gas, for 93%, but we are the 4th worldwide for the biogas production, mainly from agricultural and food industry waste. So now we are changing, we are upgrading these biogas plants, also for the small farmers, to biomethane. And with biomethane, at the same time, we will be able to reduce our dependency of 10% for imported gas as a country in few years. And at the same time, we are powering our trucks where we obviously travel our goods. So you have no chance. All you really have from economical point of view, not just ethical, a perfect circular economic model, or you close your company.
Thanks, Mr. Scordamaglia. I saw another question on the second row. There are several. So what I would suggest, maybe we take all together the question and then we see the answer. Please, can you help us?
Good evening. Hello, everyone. My name is Francesca Petrini, and I was actually exhibitor at the Speciality Food Festival in Dubai. So it's really nice, and thank you for the invitation to join this meeting. That is very, very interesting, and thank you all the speakers for their interesting speech. I just want to add a consideration as for the Italian agricultural production. We often miss to talk about organic agriculture. And this is very important. And this is one of the most sustainable and secure food system, actually. United Nations, stated this already some years ago, and Italy plays a very fundamental role in this because we have 2 million hectares, more than 80,000 companies, organic companies in Italy, and the percentage of organic land is approximately 15% in respect to the average of Europe, whole Europe, which is only 8%. So since we are here outside Italy, among economical operators, among buyers, among foreign people, I think that we should tell them that we are leader also in the production of organic products, which come from one of the most sustainable, resilient food system that can also grant secure food. Thank you for your attention.
Thank you for the point. Maybe in the interest of time, we take all the other questions and then we will address questions and speeches all together. Next one, please. So sorry, Haifa, is a person has the mic now. We're going to be the next. Do you mind?
Hello. My name is Ricardo Elton, and first of all, thank you for the invitation. I came from Angola. Angola in Africa, we have 20 years ago, we have 20 hotels. After 20 years, we have more than 19. We start with 4 million persons, and now we have 12. My question is, our country have more than $15 million by year on sustainability for the agriculture, all the year. And normally, as a chef, and I came with a colleague who opened the first biologic restaurant in Angola. We don't have any good information about this. And sustainability and security food, it's one of the best problems. And I say best because it's the most big problem that we have. Just to ask you something, what about, and I know Inalca, an example, is one of the biggest company that we have in Angola, and you have an amazing food and amazing meat. And my question is, what about to create, or if you have any idea to create a program so we can contact you with the government? Because our government, they need us to go to you. And my question is, if you are available to create an opportunity to share your knowledge. Thank you very much.
Thank you. Thanks a lot. Haifa wanted to ask a question, if I well understood the name, on the second row, please.
Thank you. My name is Haifa, and I work for the Italian Trade Agency. I am trade analyst for the food and agriculture sector. My question for Mr. Scordamalia is about, is this innovation on agriculture is also applied for the, is Italy also applying innovation techniques for growing animals, the number of animals like cows and herds and chicken and everything? Because you said in the beginning that you are going to raise exports. Is it only now Italy #1 in the agriculture, or also in the growing of herds and production of meat?
Thank you, Haifa. Any other question from the room? Okay, good. So maybe what I would suggest is we have that question to Mr. Scordamaglia. We have one on organic agriculture that I would first turn to Mrs. Roversi, and then the one on the bridging points between Angola and Italy, I will really is a task for our Italian trade agency, and I would suggest that off record we can offer to the gentleman all the contacts of our office covering Angola, and will be my duty to ensure that we'll have also some initiative towards your country. And by the way, congratulations for this great achievement, and thanks for the attention of Angolian HoReCa sector to our product. And then clearly after Mrs. Roversi and Mr. Scordamaglia, who the other speakers who wanted to add a point on this question, I'll be more than happy before the conclusion. Please, quick.
First of all, I want to thank you, because you invited the best audience to talk about food, because food needs diversity of perspectives, and here we have the representatives of chefs, analysts, and also the organic movement. Yes, I would say Italy for sure counts a lot, and I want to also mention that in Italy was born the first eco-district in the world, because now we're talking about organic, but the next frontier is regenerative agriculture. Also, the big companies now are announcing a big transition of the entire food system related to the regenerative farming models. Everything needs to be studied and developed more, because this, of course, we know is going to push the industry to do profound changes, but we also know how much agriculture can contribute in carbon capturing. Carbon finance is one of the hot topics now at the time. So this is absolutely something that we should underline. Organic is for sure very important, but I think that all the players here are showing that we need to work together. Organic, traditional farming system, but everything needs to be focused on sustainability and carbon capturing and solving the issues of the impact of agriculture on the global systems.
Thank you, Mrs. Roversi. About zootechnic.
Yes, first of all, I would like to add to what Sarah said, yes, we have to work together. You know better than me, probably, that Italy is the country with the highest number of organic companies, not for extension, but as number. Yeah. But you know why sometimes they don't grow more? Because, as Sarah said, sometimes we don't have enough manure. For example, you cannot use fertilizer, chemical fertilizer, so we need a perfect integration. Last week I was with Oscar Farinetti, the Italy founder, and he told me, we need to be provocative, we need to be 100% organic as Italy. This is not the target because it's impossible, but I want to assure you that the new common agriculture policy will fix at 25% the percentage of organic land. So we are going, as you indicate. Zootechnical, for sure, zootechnical production is a fundamental part, circular economy of the agriculture. So the same precision farming we apply to zootechnical production. The same will be here, because I visited some unbelievable stable of dairy cow in the desert. I don't want to know the cost of 1 liter
I can tell you the cost, no problem.
Anyway, okay, not for you. But and the last, Angola and Africa, for sure. Angola is the best demonstration how synergic we are. They have hectares of fertile land, a lot of water. We, as a company together with, as a filiera also together with Eni, the oil company, we are working to create this program in Ghana. We are working in Tunisia. We didn't start in Angola, but there we are going to invest in processing steps. The government should invest in the primary production, because we cannot substitute thousands and thousands of farmers. But there is the future.
Thank you. As really the very last, let's have also the view on this point by Mr. Mukazel.
I just want to mention and add about the organic, which is really the biggest topic now around the world. I think we all agree that the consumer deserves to have a produce that it's free of pesticide. There is no question about it. It shouldn't be any more debate. The consumer deserves to have a produce free, completely zero pesticide. But now, organic, non-organic, pesticide free, it's a lot of work, and the technology yet around the world is not yet make it economically or nearest to be between tradition to, because the consumer can't, not everyone can afford to buy organic product. And this, our job is to make sure that in the next 10 years or 15 years, that the consumer can afford to buy an organic product. And this is the big challenge.
Thank you very much, Mr. Mokerzel. Watching the hour, I think we have done, and I would say you did a great job on content, on timing. So I want to thank Mrs. Sara Roversis, Mrs. Sabina Stoppato, Mr. Emile Mucarzel, Mr. Paolo Zanetti, Mr. Luigi Scordamaglia. But before concluding, I leave the stage for the conclusion to the real authority here, the representative of the Italian government, His Excellency's General Counsel Giuseppe Finocchiaro. Please, Giuseppe.
Good afternoon. Allow me first to thank President Carlo Ferro, Italian Commissioner General Paolo Glisenti, and all the distinguished speakers for their very interesting and inspiring speeches and contributions to today's crucial discussion. And I also would like to greet Director Amedeo Scarpa and all the colleagues from ITA Dubai for the excellent work they are doing. Undoubtedly, food security and sustainable agriculture are more than ever crucial nowadays, as climate change and the pandemic have been further stressing the local and global agri-food supply chains. I would like to recall that Italy has always been at the forefront of global and regional efforts aimed at food security and sustainable agriculture. Thanks to our unique knowledge, expertise, and skills in the sector, we are a crucial partner for the Food and Agricultural Organization, based in Rome, in the achievement of its mission to reduce poverty and end hunger and malnutrition all over the world. Italy is a staunch and committed supporter of the 2030 Agenda for Sustainable Development, which recognizes the crucial importance of food security and sustainable agriculture, not only for the eradication of hunger and poverty, but also for peace, security, and migration worldwide. Our leading role in international cooperation regarding nutrition issues is widely recognized. Carry on the legacy of Expo 2015 in Milan, based on the theme, Feeding the Planet, Energy for Life, and the Innovation Future legacy of Expo 2020 Dubai, our strategy will continue to focus on preserving agrobiodiversity and fostering local crops, with particular attention given to international knowledge combined with innovative methods and technologies. And our international commitments are obviously the mirror of our national policies and successes. New technologies for agriculture, such as satellites, drones, proximal sensors, software, and robotics, have clearly been bringing numerous benefits, both in agronomic and economic terms, and have helped farmers to better address challenges brought by COVID-19. In terms of sustainability, Italian agriculture is among the most sustainable, with just 7.2% of all emissions at the national level, with a downward trend of -1% since 2012. Italy is the world leader in quality production, with over 5,000 traditional agri-food products, the lowest number of products with chemical residues above the legal limits in the EU, and the world record in the number of products with denomination of origin and protected geographical indications. Italy also boasts important results in the field of the circular economy and the renewable energies. It is the fourth largest biogas producer in the world and also the European country with the highest percentage of waste recycling. Italy is keen to share with partner countries its unique knowledge and expertise in the food sector to build more resilient food systems globally. In this regard, we see huge cooperation opportunities with the United Arab Emirates, as the UAE government has placed food security and resilience to supply shocks at the top of its agenda by, inter alia, increasing the local food production through innovative and sustainable agricultural technologies. Therefore, allow me to commend once again the organization of this event today, as it offered a unique platform in the extraordinary frame of the Expo 2020 to share knowledge innovation and best practices on a crucial global goal such as the security and the sustainability of the agri-food sector for a better life of our and future generations. Thank you very much for your attention. Grazie tante e buona serata.
Thanks, Council. We still have 30 seconds. I still have 3 tasks. One is to thank all the contributors that have allowed this event to occur at the various teams. Thanks all. Second is to thank all participants, particularly those from abroad and the many ones on the web. And third, to invite you for a networking drink now. Thank you all. Bye. Divertita?